Freeze.
Frozen. You're good now. Okay.
You're back.
All right, we're going live on YouTube. We're officially live on YouTube. And I get the week off, so Phil is going to do our intro song. It's G and D, and the last chord is G. You're good.
Oh my gosh, are we ready? I practiced like 18 seconds outside. I was like, when Destin's like, you better practice. I was like, I better practice. That was it. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Aye, aye, Captain. All right. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Perfect.
This is the Garden Party, and I wanna go to party with you. We talk about the things we grow and some things you might not know. The Garden Party. Take it off, Dustin.
Fantastic, Phil. Good. I don't want to give you a 10 and give you a big head. I'll give you an 8. I'll give you an 8.
I have a huge head already, so thanks for the 8. Just keep me humble.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was Phil's rendition of the Garden Party theme song. Everybody, welcome to the Garden Party. I am Destin Nowak, Texas Garden Guy. Thank y'all for joining us again. Welcome to our weekly podcast, The Garden Party. If you don't already know, drop your gardening questions down below. We got 3 guests with us tonight. We got 2 guests and my co-host Phil. Phil, go ahead and introduce yourself, dude.
What up, everybody? It's your favorite plant parent, regular parent, Phil from Phil's Figs. All things figs is my favorite thing.
Dude, I don't know how to introduce myself without doing the guitar thing. I don't know how to. I had a brain fart.
What do I do with my hands?
What am I doing? And for our luckily, we got 3 weeks in a row. We got Mr. Vikram Baliga, the plant professor. Introduce yourself, dude.
Hello, I am Vikram. I am a horticulture professor and a general plant nerd and debunker of banana myths.
Yeah, I literally had a comment on a video earlier and say, you don't need to buy fertilizer, just put a bunch of bananas in water. And I just said, I commented back, I go, ew, and did the barf emoji. It's like, yeah, fertilizer works way better. First time guest, we got Mr. Joshua Meekins from The Garden is Growing. Go ahead and introduce yourself, dude.
Yeah, I didn't know I have my name right there, but yeah, I'm The Garden is Growing across social media. Thanks for having me on. You can find me on, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, the 4 main ones, I think, these days at least. But yeah, I garden in Central Virginia. I've been gardening for about 8 or 9 years now. I garden a little bit as a kid as well, just, some green beans, strawberries, tomatoes in the backyard. But yeah, no, it's a hobby that's just slowly growing into a little bit more than that, and it's exciting to see what opportunities come up. But I just want to talk plants, so let's do it.
Absolutely. No, dude, people probably see me and you like the same sometimes. We're like, oh, I don't know who that guy is, but I've seen his face in like a random video somewhere, and I see you everywhere. You're. And I know you just hit 100,000 on YouTube. I saw you got your plaque.
Yeah.
Congratulations, dude.
I put that behind me. It's currently
Nice.
on the shelf in our living room.
Congrats.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's surreal. That's kind of one of the main milestones that people consider when you're talking content creating, and it's hard to believe, but yeah, it's really cool to have reached that.
That's awesome. And so you've been doing this for a while. How long have you been making videos and stuff?
Yeah, so let's see. I actually started about 3 years ago. So it's not super long, but it's also not last year. But yeah, I started my Instagram, that was the primary channel back in 2021. Yeah, that was 3 years ago. So not a whole lot, but I focused on pictures on Instagram. And then I got a random TikTok video go a little viral like 2.5 years ago. So then I switched my focus over to video, and that's it's fun. I mean, video is a great way to show the garden, and then just being able to educate as well, and entertain, a little bit of all the above.
No, Phil is probably the only one in here that doesn't have TikTok. But is there anything better than your first TikTok video, like getting like 1 million? Like, dude, it feels so amazing when you get like your first TikTok video that hits like 1 million views. It's insane.
What?
Dude, it's like a drug when you get a viral video, dude. It's fun. It is like, 'cause you're chasing afterwards. You get kind of you get kind of antsy, like, okay. And then afterwards, all the traffic is driven towards that one video. And so like, it's like trying to make lightning in a bottle happen twice. It's insane.
Your next 9 videos get 11 views.
Oh my God.
My first one was actually related to what my channel was about.
Oh,
it was
man.
A 9-second random video that, it was somewhat related, but everybody that followed from that video wasn't that interested in the actual gardening content. So, that was a few years ago. So I've recovered from that.
You do a lot of good content, dude. You do a lot of good stuff.
Oh, thanks. You do too. And I'm more recent following for Vikram and Phil, but you guys have some cool stuff too. I've recently discovered.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. I just have another East Coaster here. I'm surrounded by all the Texans.
You're
I got some sort of East Coast representation.
North Carolina?
Yeah, I'm in Wilmington, down by the beach.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
North Kakalaki.
We just got bumped up to 8B, which honestly, I was like talking to friends here, and like we've always been 8B on the ocean side, because I back up to the creeks and waterways that flow out to the intercoastal.
Okay.
So we get that little maritime climate buffer. Whereas like Anthony, the millennial gardener, is about 20 minutes inland from me.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have like almost a 4-degree difference, which is,
oh wow.
When it comes down to the teens, it can make or break some plants for sure in the wintertime.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in zones. I was 7A. I got bumped up to 7B with the recent USDA changes. But yeah, it's in Virginia. There's a bunch of different ranges. We're not too far away from. I guess it's probably zone 7B or 7A now. It was 6B. But yeah, zone 7 here, rocking zone 7.
Sick.
I'm also 7B up here in my part of Texas.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that
okay? I wasn't actually sure. So you're in Texas as well?
I am. I'm in like northwest kind of panhandle of Texas, and I'm like a 7B, and Destin down at the coast is like a 35 or something.
I think I'm 9B now. I think I'm 9B.
Yeah. Where you live?
And with Wolf Freeze, we've had a couple like the weather. Like I've never been like a climate change person, but like man, the weather has been nuts this year. It has been so crazy.
That's why we're friends now, because I studied paleoclimatology.
It has been the craziest weather. We actually had our at work. I'm part of like the hurricane response team. We actually were doing planning, and they were saying that like this year, as if they can predict the weather, let alone they can't predict whether it's going to rain tomorrow, let alone a hurricane. But like they're saying that the hurricane season is going to be terrible this year. Like it's going to be a nightmare. And so
because it's ocean temperatures.
Yeah.
So the ocean temperatures are already like 3 degrees warmer than average. And so once you start hitting that in the North Atlantic over that 75 marker, that's when you're going to be able to generate a lot of those hurricanes, because they'll have the energy of that warm water offshore. But we'll see. We'll see where they go. Maybe they stay in the Atlantic. Maybe they don't go in the Gulf.
And
let's hope so.
Makes for good waves though, Phil.
Oh, dude, don't get me started. I got in the water yesterday, and we're having little longboard waves here, and I'm itching to go out there with Bodie and Johnny Utah.
Oh my God,
Johnny Utah. There's a good throwback reference.
For everybody in their 20s, that was a Point Break reference.
Yes.
I thought it was an old Disney Channel movie. I guess I'm wrong on that one.
Oh, no, that's Johnny Tsunami.
Yeah, Johnny.
But yes,
that's the crossover we need.
Same thing. Pretty sure.
It's so funny.
That was middle ground Disney originals.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny now, like when people get the references from other movies instead of the originals. Like there was probably like a reference in Johnny Tsunami, like referring to Point Break, but it was
probably.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, Vikram, you got a kids camp or something going on. I saw you had some water tanks getting painted and stuff like that up at the university. What do y'all got going on right now?
Yeah, so we've got there's a local art studio actually where my wife works, and they do a beginning of the summer mural painting camp. So they'll find a location somewhere in town and paint a big mural with all the kids. And this year they had a different location, and kind of last minute it fell through. So we had some big, 4 big 500-gallon tanks, and we were like, hey, these are just sitting here. We're going to install them on like this outdoor learning area one of these days. Why don't y'all come paint these? And so they've been out there all week painting. I got one more day. But it's really cool. They like walked around the horticultural garden. So Joshua, part of my job has been running our like horticulture garden at my university. So awesome. We've got about 3.5 acres of garden. So the kids spent the first day like walking around the garden and kind of sketching things that they saw out there. And so we have like a desert scene. We have sort of a like one that it almost looks like a wallpaper of like birds and bugs, and then there's another one that is flowers, and then another one that's sort of like a big garden scene overall. They have like gnomes hidden in it, like lawn gnomes hidden in it, and it's amazing. So it's been a lot of fun.
Water tanks? You said they're large tanks?
Yeah, they're large. They're actually like spray tanks that you would use like on a farm. They're big 500-gallon spray tanks, but there's never been anything in them. They've always just had water in them.
Right.
And so we've had them sitting around for like 2 years, like just sitting around. And so we're going to hook them up. We're getting a like outdoor learning pavilion built here this next year or so. And so the footprint 1,600 square feet, which means I'll have, I don't know, 1,800 square feet of roof space. And I can probably catch a little bit shy of 1,200 gallons of water, 1,000 gallons of water per inch of rain. Wow. And so we're going to put those 4 tanks around there, use it to irrigate the garden around there. And we're pretty excited.
I love hearing the efficiency on that. Like per 1 inch of rain, you can capture 1,200 gallons. Like that just put things in perspective.
So over 620 square feet, an inch of water is, I'm sorry. Let me say that. I said that backwards. Over 1,000 square feet, an inch of water is about 625 gallons. And so like you can calculate, like, say if you go and put like an inch of water out on your lawn, like you can know how many gallons you're putting out.
Oh, geez.
And like, if you think about your roof space, if you calculate how big your roof is, you can actually calculate how much water you can catch off your roof pretty easily. And so when we're talking about like rain barrels and rainwater harvesting, like there's some simple math that goes into it.
There's actually some online calculators. Like there's some calculators you can actually, if you find your square footage, you can see how much you get. Yeah, it's way easier than doing regular math.
And there's like coefficients. Like if you have a composite shingle roof, you multiply it by a factor. If you have a metal roof, you multiply it by different factors. So there's different variables that could reduce the efficiency.
So
I typically say it's about 600 gallons per 1,000 square feet for
that's what I've heard. That's what I've always about 600 per 1,000 square feet. That's about what I heard.
So with our 2,000 gallon
rainfall
tank space, we can catch a lot of water in like an inch of rain. We can fill those tanks up pretty quick.
That sounds
now,
like
how fast would you burn those tanks out of
real fast
supply?
Real fast. We'll
that's the trade-off. How long is you going to blast through that reservoir?
Yeah. We'll kind of use it selectively. We're going to build little gardens around it, so we'll use it for our pots and for just a few specific things out there. But it'll be pretty cool.
That sounds like awesome. It'd be a cool tank tube project, Joshua. Doing some kind of water collection system with tank tube.
Yeah, you could definitely build something to hold the barrels or whatever else you're adding to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
I was gonna say it's like 3 years in the making. One day I'm gonna set up a water collection system. I've got an actual like 50-gallon made for water collecting system that I got off of Facebook Marketplace 3 years ago, and I got another blue water, one of those blue barrels that a neighbor. They use it at work and it only held water, distilled water. So I've got 2 containers. I just haven't gotten around to it. There's just so many projects, but that's definitely something on my list. Right now, I just use the spigot. So that's really cool, though, that you have such a big setup coming, but you also have that huge garden that you have to water.
Yeah. We use, if they ever, so what's nice is the university kind of covers our water bill and stuff. And if they ever send me a water bill, I'm just not going back. Like, I'm just going to lock the doors and walk away and just not go back.
No, that's funny, dude.
You just like they push you a piece of paper and you're like, and you push it right back. Like, nope, that's okay.
Nope, that's it. I'll see you never.
Well, you have to be like, so like my house doesn't have gutters, and I guess that would be my first step is getting gutters put in. You know, I could probably easily store water if I, actually had gutters, but I don't even have that. Someone's asking about, have y'all thought about? Well, this is something I would probably have to do if I've seen people where they have like an old swimming pool in their backyard, like people do like in Arizona, and they literally collect the rainwater into the pool and use that to actually water their garden and stuff. Because like I would have to have one like halfway buried in the ground here, just because it would be too. I think even that 500-gallon one would be too high sticking above my fence, and my HOA would be like, take that down and take your greenhouse down while you're at it. I don't want to tempt the HOA gods. I don't want to tempt them.
You could do like a cell phone tower, like faux, cover it in shrubs. Be like, no, it's a bush.
Just don't do a cactus one. That one might stick out if you don't have cactuses around.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, if it was, if I made it look like a trampoline, it'd probably fit right in. Just make a big, like a round trampoline looking thing. It'd probably fit right in. But
trampoline over one and just have it like a nice shallow one, but then it has a big footprint.
This could be a great episode chapter of like HOA disguises to get away with things in your garden.
What I need to do is just move.
That does that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting away with so much already that it's just I don't want to tempt them too much. Like I'm dreading the day that my fence finally falls down. Most of the cattle panels in my yard that I'm using to like let stuff climb on are holding my fence together. So like whenever we get that hurricane, I got a feeling we're gonna get that hurricane this fall, and it's gonna blow my fence down, and all my neighbors are gonna be like, "What is he doing back there?" Like, I've got 15 raised beds in my backyard.
Everyone else's fence falls down and yours stays up because the cattle panels reinforced it.
It could be true.
It's almost like cattle panels make good fences. It's almost like they were designed for that.
Exactly.
Oh, bazinga!
Exactly. No, I've got at least like 10 cattle panels up against my fence, like bolted on. I've even had to there's one post in my backyard that's like completely rotten at the back. I don't feel like doing anything with it. So I took one of those, you can buy those auger bits. They have like a eye at the top, and I've got a ratchet strap on it that I just have it ratcheted at all times, because if it falls, there goes the fence. It's like a dominoes. When one thing snaps, the whole fence just goes down like a thing of dominoes.
In my mind, real quick, I just counted how many cattle panels I have because I was about to one-up you, but I'm pretty sure I have 9. So I'll just It only works if I have one more, not one less. Yeah.
There you go. I've cut a bunch of segments. That's what's cool about cattle panels, because
I might have 10 because I did cut one to lead up to my trellis wall, and that's one. Yep. Right. All right, we might be even.
I think you got me beat probably. I was surprised how well I've got one against my old greenhouse frame that's going 15 foot down all the way, and I've got passion vines growing on it. And I was surprised how well my Gulf fritillary butterflies are doing. I was taking pictures. I've got 5 or 6 chrysalis, and the plant isn't even that big, but I was surprised how many caterpillars were just going to town on it. It was nuts. Did you see?
Wait, how do you do that?
I think it's when you do thumbs up, it does it, I think.
But there are a few different ones. I don't know.
Yeah. How did you? Okay, hang on. We look like idiots. Anyone watch? I hope someone's watching this with the sound off, and
I looked like an idiot before.
Exactly.
Butterfly one. Why isn't that working?
That should work.
No, I was surprised how many caterpillars one plant could sustain. I was and I got a bunch of comments where people were asking me, "Hey, the caterpillars are eating all my passion vine," and what can I do to stop it? And I'm like, leave it alone. They're supposed to eat that. That's what it's there for. What are you doing?
So the passion vine doesn't take over.
Apparently they can. I've gotten mine in the pot. I'm nervous to put it in the ground. Vikram, y'all probably have some stuff like that growing in the greenhouse, huh? Like passion vine and stuff for butterflies.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of butterfly stuff, and some of it's native and some of it's less native, and we try to limit this. It's running a public garden like that's an interesting thing, because we want to balance native plants, things that do well in our area, but also have a showcase of some cool specimens from other places. It's like a botanical garden, right? And so
Right.
we have a few things that, we pay a lot of special care to, so it is well behaved. That, I probably wouldn't tell a ton of people around here, you should definitely plant this in your yard, but it's so we kind of tread that line sometimes of, this is good, it works here, it's well adapted, but maybe be careful.
Yeah, you probably have a ton of Bradford pears planted in your greenhouse.
Oh my god. So no, we have one
for demolition purposes.
There used to be a lot of them, and we have one left, and it's huge. Like, the trunk is probably, like, I can't get my arms around the trunk. It's a big Bradford pear, and I'm just waiting for a big storm to come through and like break it in half, so I can be like, oh no, oh gosh, I gotta cut it down.
Joshua, Vikram hates Bradford pears with a passion.
We all should, really.
Yeah.
So I'm with him on that.
Yeah. No, every time I see one, because I live in a town right down the road called Pearland, and there used to be pear orchards, but now everybody thinks like, hey, I live in Pearland, I should have a pear tree in my yard. So they planted Bradford pears everywhere. And like, so you can't drive like 2 minutes in Pearland without seeing a stupid, ugly Bradford pear in someone's yard. And every time I see one, I want to take a picture and send it to Vikram.
I mean, I know they're invasive and they're not great for the local environment. But I'll take that over. We have kudzu and Japanese knotweed, which are very invasive.
Yeah.
So I'll take a Bradford pear over those. However, if I could get rid of all three of them. Yeah.
Yeah, here in our part of Texas, it's not so much like the Bradford pears as it is they have a couple words: tallow trees or China berry trees, what they call them. They're little. I don't know the technical name of them, but I did some research on them a while back, and I could be wrong. This was on Wikipedia, but I thought it said that Benjamin Franklin brought them over from China because to plant them in low-lying areas because of their ability to absorb a lot of water. And so
they do that.
and so people in this area where it floods a lot, they planted tallow trees because they grow really fast and they will soak up a lot of water. So that could be true.
It's interesting.
And they do produce a lot. They produce a lot of pollen. So they have bees, love them because the honey tastes really good. Like if you get like tallow honey, it's really good. So, but anyway, back to gardening. Mr. Joshua Meekins, what do you got growing in your garden right now? The garden is growing. What is growing in the garden right now?
The garden is growing indeed. Less than I want to be growing in the garden. I'm always behind in planting things, but yeah, one thing I'm currently doing is doing a lot of trimming of tomatoes. We have we mentioned TinkTube. One of the projects I've done with them is a string down tomato trellis. So I'm doing a lower and lean. So this is the first year I'll actually have it in full glory is the plan. So the plan was like a single stem tomato going up, attached to the string, and then once it reaches the top of the trellis, I have one of the spools of twine up there. You can also use like those tomahawks, but the idea is to lower it, and then instead of just have it just the vine fall, because the tomato plant is a vine for the and they're all indeterminate, and then just have it go over and shift it. And my hope is that I'll be able to have like tomatoes wrapping around this thing by the end of the
100% you could. Last year we had so cool.
Yeah, the ones we have most of are Super Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes. And last year I measured, they were all floppy and like over they're trellised a whole bunch of different ways, but they got over 12 feet, like those tomato plants. So that's one of the things I'm most excited to see. But that's one of many things. We have cucumbers, we have squash, we have greens, we have peppers, a bunch of different kinds of peppers. I mean, that's like maybe a 10% of what we have going right now.
Oh, for sure. No, I definitely saw that method. I think it was the Disney.
Phil Earth Nails and Tails did something like that.
Yeah, you grow them at like a 45-degree angle, right? I think I saw like Disney.
Well, he had the levees that lowered it down so he had the string slack.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unique to me. Don't hear me saying that, anyone. It's more.
No, it's new to me. This is cool.
Yeah,
You said you invented it, Joshua. You said on this podcast you invented the method. It's called the Meekins method, actually.
If we all say it, maybe it'll become true. I'm not sure. It's more common in greenhouses from like YouTube videos and different videos I've seen for research. But because the outside environment, there's a lot that can go wrong. But it's outdoors, it's not in a greenhouse. But yeah, no, I'm excited. So follow The Garden is Growing and see how that ends up this summer.
Yeah, I was watching a couple of those videos earlier. It looks really cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. Of course, it could all get disease and die, but I haven't been keeping up with trellising them and with pruning them. So from 2 plants, I decided to have 2 main stems instead of a single main stem because when I was trimming them up, I haven't kept up with it. So I have 3 mason jars with like 8 to 10 suckers per jar from these 2 plants that I took out. And I'm not going to just get rid of them. So I'm having them in mason jars with water. So I'm going to try to root them, fill them in gaps, try to get tomatoes all the way through the summer, give some away. But now I also have like 15 other plants in the same condition, and there's no way I need 100 suckers. So it'll be a painful decision here in the next few days.
Well,
pruning.
That's always my favorite comment. Like anytime I'm doing like a video with tomatoes and I'm pruning stuff, you can propagate the suckers. Yeah. I'm like, listen, by the time I'm planting these tomatoes, I have more than I could possibly even fit in my garden. I have not necessarily had great success. Maybe I've had success rooting suckers. I've not had great success transplanting because usually by like the time the suckers have got those roots developed, it's already kind of too hot for me.
I was going to say,
definitely planting
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Virginia, we get heat, but it's very rare it'll get over 100. Our hottest days are like mid 90s, but most of the time it's like around 90 is our high. And it's not consistent. So, it's hot and humid, but it's not as bad as where you are, I'm sure.
Tomatoes don't mind it too much.
No, they like the humidity is what can help, not be great for some of the diseases. But tomatoes grow really well here, but they grow well almost everywhere.
Yeah, and it's not that the tomatoes don't like to eat; it's the acclimation. So if I root the suckers inside, and someone was telling me this, they're like, "Hey, I've had issues, propagating. I'll take a cutting, put it inside in the water, and root it, and I take it outside and it dies." So I was like, "Well, what time of year did you do that?" Because if you did it in the middle of summer, well, yeah, if it goes from 72, like my house is freezing. My wife is an ice queen. She used to 72 in my house, and I take it outside and it's 94 degrees. Yeah, anything is going to die going from like 72 to 94 like that,
I'm keeping them in the shade on the porch, so hopefully that'll help. I haven't brought them inside, but I know they won't do well.
There you go.
Sunlight. So I'm trying just keeping them outside full time until they have some roots. But yeah, that definitely can be trouble.
No, for sure. And I had pretty good success with acclimation this year because I left my greenhouse cover on a lot longer than I wanted to, and I was just opening the door every morning and kind of letting it slowly cool down. It just kind of acclimating it like that. And it's just I had like 100 tomato plants trying to move them outside every day was kind of a nightmare. So. Mr. Phil's Figs, I want to ask you about your figgy because I got my package in the mail today. Somebody's baby's crying.
Dude, I did. I
bet it's Phil's baby.
It's probably one of mine. It sounds like George. I'm sorry, everybody. But I'm also not sorry because my baby boy. No, it's bedtime. It's 8. If he's still crying now, somebody's very, very overtired. I got my fig coffee from Fig Brew, and it tasted great this morning. I was I was very thrown back how good it was. So it's definitely earthier. I had
figs.
Yeah,
it's brewed. Yeah, it's roasted figs, and what we learned was that I guess it's not a tea. It's like a dissolved solid, like coffee is, but it's like roasted figs, and
it's
I had to beat one.
Figs, and they roast them and grind them.
Correct.
Yes.
Or dry, is it dehydrated figs or dried figs?
I think they get them from Turkey and Italy, dehydrated, and then they roast them and then grind them. Yeah.
But yeah, so I had it this morning. It was awesome. And then I do
blend
need
with
some more
caffeine?
caffeine. I actually don't know. I think the beet one maybe is a blend, and it helped a little bit. I have small children, so like we're still waking up early in the morning or getting up in the night to help some night feedings and stuff. And so I need that I'm like, if anyone drinks like 1 or 2 cups, double that for me, at least in this stage of my life.
I feel that. Yeah.
I have discovered iced caramel macchiatos at Starbucks, which I've never been much of a coffee drinker, but Starbucks is the only restaurant between my house and work. And so I bought a cold brew thing for like a quart mason jar, and I'm going to try some cold brew figgy 50-50 mix with like regular coffee so I get that caffeine. But I'm going to try to make my own caramel macchiato with figgy. Let's see how.
But I will say it has like a lot of like, if you like doing fancy coffee with like a Chemex or something, it has that pour over flavor that you get out of like a nicely roasted cup of coffee, where you're like, oh, you're getting all the berry tones of something that's not overly cooked. It's got that those nice like fruity tones that you would want out of a nice pour over. And so like it still encapsulates flavors of coffee in that regard, where you're getting those more of those tones versus like a dark French roast. You won't get that necessarily.
Caffeine in it?
It's blended with, some of it is blended 50-50. Okay. But if you just get the figgy itself is there's no caffeine in it. But I think that they talk about you still get a lot of the polyphenols that figs have in the brew itself. So it's still healthy in that regard. But
I would definitely blend it with coffee. In fact, I think I ordered some too. I think mine came
really quick.
But I haven't.
Figgy? Is that what
Fig brew, yeah.
Fig brew. Yeah,
go
ahead, Phil.
Go for it. Oh, I was going to say, like, you can pick if you want the 50-50 blend, and then they have some, like, I think one is the beet has a nice earthy tone. People say it's an earthy tone, but it tastes more like it's like blueberry tones to me, like you still that you would get in a coffee. So I was pretty impressed with the beet.
That's the one.
That's it. Yeah, so that's what I get. I get the coffee supplement, and I mix it 50-50 with my regular coffee. Like, there's this one from HEB. It's like, it was around Christmas time. It was a Snickerdoodle blend, and I mixed it with the figgy. Makes my coffee last longer, and I don't get like as much caffeine. It's like I sometimes the caffeine is too much. I need to slow down my coffee intake all at once. Sometimes,
especially in the afternoons, I've noticed for myself.
Yes, I'm going to try. As he's drinking coffee,
I'm with you, Joshua. I could drink that and go straight to bed. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If I drink it too late, I'll be up until at least 11 or 12. But yeah, I'm a 2 or 3 cup coffee a day kind of guy, for better or worse.
No. Yeah.
But I liked it, I guess, and they even talked about you could pull it like an espresso, so like it matches the viscosity you would have of coffee in a variety of applications. So I was really interested by that, especially if people are trying to like maybe wean, and like for me, maybe I could wean a little bit and just like still have that ceremonious caffeine preparation without it actually getting me all jittered up when I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. So I do a Chemex or a French press too. But I think I'm gonna try mine on Saturday morning when I have time to like mess with it and make a video about it. But I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah. At work they have one of those big truck stop like coffee makers, and it just has the hot water spout in the front. And so I bought those pour over little filters, single use filters to put on they sit on top of your coffee mug. And you just put the hot water, and it just gravity feeds through the grounds, and it's amazing. It's so good. So,
Destin, did you include one of these bags of coffee in the care package you're sending me for being on the podcast?
I will absolutely do that.
I'm excited to try it.
They're really big, elaborate gift baskets. They're awesome. I can't wait for you to get it.
Big bow, right? That's what I've been looking up for.
I've got like a stack of them behind this curtain.
That's why you keep coming on. Okay.
Yeah. You're gonna get an iPod Shuffle circa 1999.
Clip it right on your shirt.
Just look around. Whatever's behind you that you don't want anymore, throw it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the worst about correspondence. I ask the people the other day, I was like, hey, like it was 2 podcasts ago. I was like, hey, send me y'all's address so I can send y'all some stickers. And I haven't done that yet. So I got to get your address and we'll send you some stickers because we have the garden party stickers now. Me and Phil have those. And so we have.
Oh yeah, we got to
those
send those out to all our guests and stuff.
I know, right? I'm
With some
so,
fig cuttings. I'm behind on it
about
too now. Dang.
Are you a fig man over there, Joshua? You got some figs over there?
So, I don't know if I've ever had a fresh fig. Let
Are
alone
close.
I've never grown them, obviously.
Yeah.
No, I'm not against them. I mean, grocery store fig Newtons, or is that about the same thing?
Nope.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry.
I'm a newbie.
No, but that's the ongoing theme,
See you
right?
later,
Of
Joshua.
like,
Wait, Phil.
no, they're okay. I think they're a little overplayed. I think they're a little overplayed at this point.
I like the Costco fig bars are better.
We got
those fig bars are awesome. If anyone's had those, and you get them like blueberry, raspberry, something also. But the thing with fresh figs is like you never have a truly fresh fig until it's like off the tree because grocery store ones are picked too early if they don't have the shelf life anyway. So I encourage everyone to grow a fig tree in that regard.
For everything. I mean, we could just list everything that's better out of the garden, but I was just blown away this year by celery, or no, not celery, by Brussels sprouts. That's not the right word either. By asparagus. There we go.
Nice.
Because we planted asparagus for the first time, actually just last spring, and it's been doing well enough that we had a sample this year. Fresh raw asparagus out of the garden it's
so good.
It is so good. I've never had that experience before. So grow asparagus if you haven't already. Vikram, you have fresh asparagus grown?
Yeah. We have it up at work, and we've got a raised bed that we've had it in for like 6 or 7 years. Like it's a long-term crop.
Yeah.
And they look so weird coming up out of the ground. It's like someone took a bunch of green pencils, because the shoots just come up.
I keep getting comments of like, that doesn't look like it's supposed to grow that way. I guess it looks a little odd, compared to other things.
But yeah, like just breaking them fresh out of the garden and like I from the store, like store-bought asparagus, I have to cook it. Like I don't like raw asparagus from the store, but I'll eat it out of the garden all day. Like I think it's great.
Yeah, I did a taste test where I had some from the grocery store outside when I harvested, and I bit, took a taste from each. And people don't believe my reaction was genuine, but it actually is. I couldn't finish the store-bought one. It wasn't even like chewable compared. And I don't normally eat asparagus, so I don't have that track record of knowing it wasn't going to be good. But yeah, compared, the fresh stuff was delicious. It was easy to eat, and so. Can't say enough good things about it.
And doesn't asparagus you have to give it a season or so to really get established, and then it'll last you for what, 30 years or something?
It can, yeah.
Yep, over 20 is what I keep hearing and seeing. Yeah. So super long, just a little time commitment. We moved into where we are now in 2019 during the summer, unfortunately. So it wasn't until 2020 I was able to start our current garden. And for the first couple of years, the whole focus is just annuals because I didn't know what I wanted where, the whole garden layout and setup. So it's really just last year I even started considering perennials. So we have asparagus, we have climbing roses, just all of these things, but they're all so new. We have blueberry bushes. The blueberries, we got like 4 blueberries last year, and we've already gotten at least 40 blueberries this year. So it's really exciting getting those perennials.
It's happening.
Yeah. And just 20 years of harvest and 20 years of roses and all of these really cool things that once you get a garden established.
No,
I think that's something as a gardener. Oh, sorry, Dustin.
Oh no, I was just gonna say on the blueberries. I'm not an asparagus connoisseur, but maybe like you're saying, Joshua, that you need to have it homegrown. It probably tastes much better.
Just call it something different. Don't even think of it as asparagus if that's what the trouble.
Well, I'm at the point like if I grow it, like I grew up being a really picky eater, not eating like I was a chicken nugget, pepperoni pizza kid, still am sometimes. And but if I grow it, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it. So like I've had asparagus in the past. It's just I don't have a lot of space. If I had more space, I would be able to dedicate a little bit spot. But like on the blueberries, I planted 4 blueberry plants. in a 4x4 raised bed, which is probably way too small for 4 plants. But I'm not getting that much this year, but maybe next year. You plant now for 10 years down the road. That's what you really do when you're gardening.
Absolutely.
Maybe 3 to 5 years. You don't have to wait 10.
3 to 5 sounds really great too. And that, I mean, that's why we always push figs too, because figs, you can have a fig after its first year.
Okay,
more likely after its second year, and definitely after its third year.
Now, I apologize for everyone else who's has heard his spiel multiple times. Phil, you've got 1 minute. Sell me on figs. Why should I plant a fig?
Oh my gosh, because they're precocious, because they have one of the highest Brix counts of any fruit, right? They don't have pits like a stone fruit, right? So you can just have fresh figs that you don't even need to make jam with them. They are jam if you have a truly ripe fig off the tree. Done. I think I finished that in 30.
That's a good line.
But
they are jam.
Yeah, that's a good line.
You're making me dig deep into my back when I was an account executive in sales and marketing. But that's kind of why, people are like, do you make jams with them? And I was like, I don't. I eat them fresh, with my coffee every morning. I think as gardeners, we love just going around, and this is obviously with a cup of coffee, maybe a fig brew now, and grazing among my garden and eating that and be like, that's what that tastes like. That's what that tastes like. How come it tastes like this? And even if I found 2 potatoes last year out of my compost bin, I'm I'm gonna cook these, and so which prompted me to be hey, I'm growing potatoes now, which was my most viral video, and I grow figs, so that was funny. Apologies to anybody who followed me over potatoes. But I think having a garden and figs play that role of eating something fresh off of a tree that gives you that, when you're talking about how you express your emotion with asparagus, I still have that with figs, where I go, if I have a black Madeira or a Col de Dent Blanc, and I'd be like, that's a fig to myself, and I kind of laugh as I eat it. So for sure.
He takes a bite and he goes, that's a fig.
It's a fig. And I spell it with a PH in my brain.
The first time I met Phil, I go, did you think about doing your name Phil's, PHIL, figs, PHIGS? And I think you should have done it, man. I think you should. You're too famous now.
Yeah, it's too late now. But I think I was just going off of website input. I wouldn't have enough algorithms to support guiding the F back to PH for Phil's figs.
You have to buy all the domains and direct them to the right one.
Yeah, but I think on our figs forum, I started out Phil's figs with a PH on the figs there. But who knows, man? Maybe one day. But it flows for now.
Hey, I got to show you all this real quick. I'm here. We've had crazy storms up here the past few days, so I'm hearing thunder. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Probably not through my mic. But I just got a news alert from our local TV station. This was hail that fell about 40 miles south of me. I don't know how well y'all can see that.
That's a tennis ball in comparison.
That's a tennis ball. They had about 30 miles northwest of us 2 days ago. They had 5-inch hail hitting the ground.
So are they not allowed to have skylights there? Is that a law?
I saw a video of it falling through a Walmart ceiling. I wonder if that was that location.
Yeah, they'll punch through roofs and cars, and they call it gorilla hail. I don't know what. Well, I think it's the size of a gorilla's fist. I don't know. They kept saying that on the weather, and I was like, okay. So I'm hoping it stays down there, and it needs to stay away from me. Mm-hmm. I've already had to replace skylights in last year.
That'll destroy a garden easily.
Oh yeah, no, I think they try to come up with different terms every year to see if something will kick off. Gorilla hail, it's it's the weirdest. I've heard some other ones this year, not tropical disturbance. It was straight line winds, it was. We had a lot of straight line winds or straight winds. That was the one this year they're trying to push.
I hear that a lot. You just don't get that down where you are.
Yeah,
the big weather.
Yeah,
we get lots of straight line winds up here where I am.
Right. No, it's wild, man. Joshua, so Well, are you growing anything like I don't know how big your garden is. Like, are you in a subdivision? Or are you in you have some land? How big is your property?
Yeah, we're not in an HOA, so we're thankful for that.
Lucky.
We're on just less than 2 acres.
Okay.
That said, about a third of that isn't really usable. A portion of it's on the other side of a road that we don't even have access to. So our usable space is probably about an acre, including the house. So the garden itself is like 25 to 3,000 square feet, give or take. I haven't measured it since the last time I expanded it, but it's around that, probably around 3,000 square feet.
That's a great space.
Yeah, so that's the fenced-in space. So that's not all of
Yeah.
the growing space, and there are sections within that I still need to improve and to get ready to grow. But yeah, it's coming along. I wish I had more time to actually focus on it. I tried to get really organized at the beginning of this year with garden planning. I've been terrible with garden planning. That's something I definitely still want to grow in and practice and just devote time to do it. So right now I do have some bare spots. I'm really needing to put time and focus into succession planting as well. But yeah, it's definitely a decent space. I'll stop there in case you have another question.
No, I support like leaving. I always have like a huge chunk of my beds just for experimentation. Like, how long will this last for? How long? Like, and like it looks kind of decrepit and stuff, but it's like having those spaces just to try to like push the limits on what could grow through what and how it behaves. I don't know. I always appreciate.
I need to use that line next time.
Spaces.
I need to use that next time somebody looks at my garden and sees it half full. Yeah, I'm doing it.
This is the This is the R&D section.
Phil is a philosopher. He's saying all kinds of very passionate
also
things tonight.
Also a PH word.
Yeah. Phil the philosopher. No, I think just under 2 acres is like a perfect space. People always tell me, like, hey, you need to get property. You need to get like all this land. People don't realize, like, once you get like over 2 acres, that's when you start having to start like heavier equipment, to do things. So, like the more land you have, the more grass you got to cut, the more, weeds you got to pull, the more irrigation you got to run. So like just like around 2 to 5 acres is like kind of pushing it without having to spend a bunch of money on like equipment and stuff. It gets pricey.
That said, I'm like, we have a dream. But I definitely need to be like a better steward of what I have now. Like, I'm not utilizing what we have to the fullest, or not even probably a decent percent. So I definitely want to focus on what we have and, be a good steward of the land and better utilize it and learn from it. But that said, the goal is 10, 20 acres, be able to do some, some meat birds, maybe I'm not sure we'll do cattle, but goats or sheep, and have that bigger homestead style. I'd love actually to go into like a market garden CSA, like as a full-time job in the future. That's something I'd and it's starting to like the visual of it is starting to like form. But there's a lot that needs to be in place, and I can use what I have now though as like a stepping stone to be able to do that. If I was just like given that now, it would fail. Like, I know that. So having what I have now is great, and it's more than I used to have. And a lot of people that watch the garden videos, there's a lot of people in apartments and a lot of people in very small areas that they don't have access to much outdoors. So I'm very grateful, and they are looking at this as like, this is the end goal. But something, do you guys know of Jessica Sowards from Roots and Refuge?
I hear the name a lot. I'm not. I'm not familiar with her channel. No.
Highly recommend checking it out. Roots and Refuge is the channel. I've been listening to her podcast a lot lately too. But one thing that she says is like, I'm definitely not going to quote this correct, but I'm not even going to be able to quote it all, am I? Like, once you reach a dream, like wait, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to look it up and come back to that.
Okay. No, I on that note with I do follow quite a few people on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. That being said, I don't do a ton of scrolling, and I don't typically watch a lot of homesteader channels because I have found myself when you start. So like next week we got Cog Hill coming on. Jason from Cog Hill and Tracy from Just Dig It. If I watch a bunch of Cog Hill videos, I will notice when I start making content, I start doing some of his mannerisms and start like I'll start acting goofier than hell and like doing some weird stuff out in the garden. And like, so I do my best not to watch like a ton of other people's content, just because I don't want to like still like even subconsciously steal someone else's thing they're doing at the time, you know. But I don't think there's anything wrong with people doing that though. You know, I don't know.
I know I need to learn. There's so many things that
I need to learn too. Yeah.
And just want to absorb it. But you're right. You want to make sure you're not like not just stealing somebody's idea, but you're also using, you're putting out your own thing and you're not borrowing too heavily. I understand that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, especially with, I remember when I first started out, like I was like, okay, I live in a subdivision. I'm going to call myself HOA Homestead. And I don't know if y'all ever seen Wrangler Star. I tried to be Wrangler Star for like the first year of making YouTube videos, like how to everything, DIY stuff. It was just, it's weird, but like, once you find like your own style and your own rhythm and get it going, it's like, I love Phil. I love your vlogs. I can watch your vlogs every weekend because I love it so much. Well, once you find someone you really love, you watch them every single week. You
get a nice flow to it. Honestly though, I hold a quote. I think this is a long time ago quote, but it was like Conan O'Brien spoke at a Harvard graduation speech, and he's like talking about trying to be like somebody else. And you can learn all their methods and do all their things, but you will never be exactly like them. And that is a beautiful thing, that you will actually still reaching a goal of exactly what you want to be. You'll still carve out a way that'll be authentic to yourself when you eloquate or however you present yourself. And so it's really nice that like when we're content creators, we take, I'm really hitting this philosophy button hard tonight, aren't I? But it's like I go on to learn, and I like, if sometimes I have to be careful because like I'll get like from the 7 videos I've watched over the course of a week, like I'll have a huge list of stuff to apply that might take me weeks and weeks just to get through. And so there's a wealth of knowledge out there for sure.
Oh, 100%.
We'll keep going with the philosophy. CS, and this is an interesting topic because this is like, I mean, it's a major concern, I think, for us as content creators, like that we want to be original. We want to be, honest with what we're doing. We want to not, like you said, copy. But so C.S. Lewis once said, I'll just read the quote. I looked it up. Even in literature and art, no man who bothers about originality will ever be original. Whereas if you simply try to tell the truth without caring how often it's been told before, you will 9 times out of 10 become original without ever having noticed it. And I really like that because like, even if it's something that's been talked about 1,000 times, like you bring your own specific framework to it, your own specific like energy to it. I love that. I think like I think about that a lot as, a writer and a content creator and an educator. Like I think that's important.
I was going to say, even as a professor, like how you present something that's been presented 100 times might captivate an audience in a really nice way, that they have all of a sudden absorbed that knowledge because just you speaking your truth about something.
Yeah, we just be honest,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. One video that I've had that's done well in the past is a string trellis just for snap peas. So just wrapping string around a T-post, very basic. And there's a lot of comments, and they're like, the negative comments are like, this is nothing new. Like, we've been doing this for 40 years, things like that. And I try to every now and then remind people, like, over 95% of the stuff I'm sharing, it's not new. And that's what's great about it. It's maybe things that I'm just learning and I'm sharing, or there are millions of people that don't know what you know, even with the basics. So even if I just share basic stuff about gardening for the rest of my life, it still has a lot of potential help for the people that just haven't learned it yet. So it's really encouraging at the same time that you don't have to go, super deep to be able to make an impact, being genuine and you're the professor, but I just pretend to be one.
It's that old adage that the Simpsons did it. The Simpsons did it. Like it's like you can never create anything original. The Simpsons already did it. Like it's the Simpsons already did it. So no matter what we do,
the Simpsons did it.
But there's always a fresh take you can do on it. And I think especially like videos like we do, minute long videos. People enjoy like getting a little bit of knowledge here, like little bites here and there, and not having to sit and watch a 30-minute video to figure out how to plant their tomatoes. I told the story before. When I first started out, I started out just doing YouTube videos, and I was doing 20, 30-minute long videos, and not, I record all day, edit all night, post the video, and I'd get like 10 views, and most of them were my mom and my family. So like, and then my buddy Farmer Froberg told me about like TikTok, and he's like, you should try TikTok. And I was like, why? So they can steal my identity? And like, he was like, no. He goes, yes, they will, but they already have it. He was saying, do the same thing you're doing for your videos, just make it 60-second long and turn your phone this way. Yeah. And it kind of evolved from there, and it gives you the encouragement to go ahead and do those YouTube videos after you have a little bit of success doing the short form videos. But
which in turn gives us other people the chance, encourages them to just garden, and so This is like, yeah,
and that's really what it is at the end of the day. Is no matter what what we're doing, whether we're copying or being original, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get people outside and get them gardening. You know what I mean? Like we're just. I think it's so cool getting. Somebody sent me this today. I'm gonna show y'all this, and I don't know if y'all saw it in my stories. Somebody sent me this today, and it blew my mind. It was someone that made a cartoon version of me, and they said, "Hey, I want to thank Texas Garden Guy for inspiring me to garden."
Look at that.
I made a cartoon version of him, and now that's gonna be the next Texas Garden Guy sticker.
That's cool.
Send it in the chat. I was like, he's like, thanks for inspiring me to get gardening. Here's a cartoon version of yourself. And I was like, that's really cool. I love that. And I love getting those messages. Somebody reached out to me once and said, hey, I'm deaf, and I appreciate that you put captions in all your videos. And I was like, that is so cool. I never even thought about that. I do it because I stutter. But now I put captions in every single video.
Just for the record, I didn't know you stuttered.
Oh my God, it's so bad. It's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a mumble.
Also, can we tangential flight? Josh, you are in Central Virginia. Are you in the heart of pawpaw country? Are there pawpaws around you?
If there are, I'm not aware of them.
Okay, cool. I just figured I'd ask because I know.
I know this, but no, I don't have experience.
Are you talking about?
I have people that go like pawpaw hunting, like the wild pawpaw in America.
I've never participated or know anything really. So
what are pawpaws?
I'm missing out.
Vikram, I need you to explain the details of a pawpaw.
So I don't actually have a lot of experience with them because they don't grow here where I am. But it's a native to the Americas, and actually lots of different places. There's a whole Jungle Book song about them. But they are kind of like, from what I understand, it's kind of
they
like
have like they have big black seeds that are in the middle, and they're like the size of a kidney.
I've heard the texture is kind of custardy, and it's like very tropical, like mangoes and bananas and stuff like that. But they grow.
You can find them in like southern Pennsylvania and Lancaster. People go out and find them, and there's different. Like they used to have a pawpaw festival, I think, in Ohio. But I know people in like that whole like northern Virginia, southern Maryland area, and they'll grow all the way down to North Carolina. It's their native range. They're like deciduous, but they take a while to grow. They absolutely need pollinators, and they can grow in middle story. Yeah, they grow tall, but they can still be in the middle story in the woods. But they're like, it's just a cool little treat that the East Coast has.
You trying to say them Delco boys go out there looking for pawpaws?
Delco, Delaware County kids, maybe.
You're like, who told you what Delco was?
I'm curious now how you know that. It was the Delco kids.
There's a stereotype. Yeah. Oh my goodness. No, that's awesome. Well, are you trying? I always ask people. I always grow the same things in my garden every year, but I try a couple of different experimental things every single year. What are you doing, like experimental trying that you haven't tried before, Joshua?
Yeah. So let's see. I feel like I've done that for a few years, and I found the ones that I like. So those are now have become staples. New things this year.
Spoilers.
I guess the asparagus technically, but I planted that last year. I mean, it's not new this year, but one that not everyone grows. I love growing loofah for the sponges. So I've been doing that.
Oh, cool.
We have a whole lot more of that going now. Cucamelon, those tiny, cucumbers, the Mexican sour gherkins that are like grape size, watermelon looking cucumbers with a little sour punch. Those are really cool. So we're growing more of those.
The kids love those.
Yeah. I'm trying some new gourds, like the birdhouse gourd, patty pans.
Cool.
I haven't grown those before, but they're not too unique, but they're pretty cool.
My friend had awesome luck with those birdhouse ones.
Yeah.
And he let them like grow on top of his shed. They just kind of spread out.
Yeah.
And then this spring he dried them out over the winter. He had a blast with them. They look so cool. So you're gonna have fun with those for sure.
And hung them up.
Yeah, the first one, he just finished it.
That's cool. Yeah. I just feel like that would be a great project, and also with the kid, I've got 3 kids, so that would be a perfect one for them. They like making bird feeders.
Yeah.
I also have 3, so I'm stoked to hear that. I love seeing other people with dads getting after it.
You've got an art wall over here. That's
Perfect. You have to.
Have you pickled the cucamelons before?
Yeah.
We've had pretty good, I think.
They are really good. We had some that came out more soggy than crunchy, but that was more just probably the pickling recipe and our limited experience. But yeah, pickled cucumbers, we have had some that have turned out great.
Yeah. Are cucamelons actually like cucumbers? Like I'm thinking about I didn't know if they were actually like. I know like a lot of things like the Armenian cucumbers, the Asian striped cucumbers are not technically cucumbers. They're like muskmelons or something like that. They're still a cucumberate, but they're not like necessarily a cucumber.
Yeah, let's see what genus they're in. I actually don't know.
It'll be hilarious like they end up being like a legume or something like that.
No, I mean they're a cucurbit. They're in the Mellithria genus. So I mean they're very closely related. They eat and grow and everything else just like a cucumber.
The same thing that eats cucumbers eats them.
Like all the leaves, like the tendrils are so tiny. Yeah, they're fun.
And the germination rate on the seed starting on those is really slow. It takes quite a while to get the seeds to germinate. And I've made the mistakes of planting them way too close together because they like to connect to each other. You got to kind of spread them apart. Like put a couple here, put a couple there.
If they grow well, they'll take over a huge amount of space. For such a tiny plant, it's very prolific. So, but then again, if you have just a couple planted and 1 or 2 die, then you have very little. So always overplant, and you can thin out if you need to.
Yeah. When it gets really thick, like I had them in a catalytic tub, and I put a couple tomato cages inside of there, and they just took over the entire tomato cage, and it makes it hard to even find the cucamelons.
Yeah. It is hard for harvesting them. That's for sure. I have like one of those pouch aprons, and it's just great because I can just add a whole bunch at one time. But that is my number one complaint: is how long it takes to harvest them for the amount that you get. Where you can go out and pick 5 cucumbers for the same amount as like 100 cucamelons.
Yeah, but it's quantity over quality.
Yeah, and last year we did a sample CSA, Community Supported Agriculture model, where we just had like 5 or 10 friends that we made weekly garden boxes for, just as like a kind of a test to learn about it. We're planning on doing it again this year, since that's one of kind of the goal to do it on a large scale. And the cucamelons were a big hit, just having a container of those in them. Because you can't find them pretty much anywhere else. No. We have seen some at the farmer's market, but you're never going to see those in the grocery store.
I don't think they have a great shelf life. I don't think they, because we were usually pickling ours after like a week or so, because we get almost like an entire like 1 full jar, and then do a batch of fridge pickles. It's so easy to do like a little quick batch of those. So like after every weekend we were doing that the last 2 years we've grown them. But I don't know.
It's like eating those fresh off the vine, so they get eaten pretty quick.
They should just make them a different color, so they're easier to find.
Sure.
Yeah. What were the results of your CSA tests? Like, what were the feedback and things that were working and what things that weren't?
Yeah, we got some good feedback. I didn't like give a big survey or anything like that. It could have been structured a little bit more to give me more info, but no, it was good. We did it very inexpensive. We just did $10, and I did a paper bag, kind of like a Trader Joe's bag, and we had a few different containers in there. We did cherry tomatoes, beef steaks, cucumbers. One touch I really like that adds a lot of value is like we did a bouquet of like just 2 or 3 cut flowers, but then we also put fresh basil, fresh lemon balm within that bouquet, so then they could take that out, use that separate. So I think this year it might actually be similar because I'm still not utilizing the space enough to expand a whole lot. The goal was to do about 20 this year. I don't think we'll be able to support that amount. The ultimate goal is to be able to do 100, but that would be in a different property. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I love the idea of people coming to pick it up instead of going and doing a farmer's market.
Yeah.
I like going to farmer's market. I can't imagine ever actually participating just with that time commitment.
It's a lot.
So, I haven't done it. Have you done farmer's markets before?
I have in a couple of different capacities, and like for the people that are like that's what they do, they're committed to it, all that, like it can work. So I own a peach orchard, and it's been pick your own.
Oh, cool.
Forever. And we went to a farmer's market. So I felt kind of bad because I was actually on the board for this farmer's market for like 3 years. And I never went because I was like, we went a couple times, and I'd get up at 5 a.m. and harvest 400 pounds of peaches or whatever, and take them with me. And
peaches, that's your problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And we would sell some of them, but I've used my whole morning, and we'd sell a lot. Like, it's not that we wouldn't sell them, but like, go out, and it was fine. It was fine. We did well. Or as a pick your own orchard, I could sit in my little air conditioned shed at the farm, and people would come pick 400 pounds of peaches themselves in half an hour. And it was like, well,
yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a lot of work, but
for you.
Yeah. So depending on what you do, like, if people can come pick up their CSA shares, like that's our local food bank has a farm, I think 8-acre farm, and they do a CSA program out of that. It's really a cool program. So they have a big apple orchard. I think they have 2,500 trees, and then an 8-acre farm. So they do a lot of fresh produce for the food bank, but then as like to support the program, they also do CSAs. I think they have 300 shares. And people come pick them up, and it's really just a great thing. It supports the community. The prices are great. They get a lot of fresh produce, and they send like recipe cards with them and all kinds of stuff. Like,
that's cool.
I've worked in that
That's
space
really cool.
for quite a few years, and it's a unique and really cool program.
Yeah. All that said, we went to the farmer's market last week, so I don't want to see them go away, and I want those people to continue to do it. I just can't imagine fitting that in with what we're trying to do as a personal choice.
Oh, I'm very pro farmer's market. No, 100%. It just didn't work right for what we were doing.
I don't think I've ever been to a
fact,
farmer's market.
Oh, you gotta. I mean, it's fun.
What?
I think that like they're very functional in like urban settings too, like that where people don't have gardens and they want that fresh produce and like engage with like the local farms outside their city. Because my brother and his wife, like almost always, they lived right in downtown DC. There's a square where they are, Mount Pleasant area, and they can go right in, and like 3 times a week there's a farmer's market with all kinds of vendors there.
Oh, wow.
And they get almost all of their produce from that area, and they may even have this. I may be speaking too much to it, but they may even have like a CSA pickup at that space too, depending on the vendor. But they do a lot there, but they are 5-minute walking to this market. So
that's
people are really finding good foot traffic, the vendors that are going to that space.
Wow.
But
what's really cool in our local markets, and this is something that I'd kind of worked on getting going when I was a extension agent a lifetime ago, it feels like, and that other people have actually picked up and done right and made work well. We have something we've partnered or started with an organization called the Fair Food Network, and we have a program called Double Up Food Bucks. So if you're like on essentially food stamps, SNAP or WIC or whatever, you can come and pull like I think you double your money up to a certain amount on what you spend, what you can buy in like local produce and local goods and local food. So like there's a booth where you come and like you can get like $20 in tokens or whatever from this Double Up Food Bucks program, plus the $20 you can get from your WIC card. So essentially you
Wow.
turn your $20 into $40. And then it's all underwritten by foundations and stuff like that. So the farmer still makes the same amount of money on what they sell,
Right.
but the people coming to shop essentially double their cash on what they can buy, and it encourages healthy eating. And
It's a government subsidized.
It's a huge incentive.
except it's largely privately underwritten, so by like
Wow.
private foundations and stuff like that contribute and donate to it, and so it makes local food webs a little more equitable, a little more accessible, and it's just such a cool deal.
That seems like a great thing to get behind, though, as like if I had a foundation, to be like, that's just such an easy choice. Like, yeah, give the money double that benefit that they have. It's obvious you're going to be getting actual food here. It's supporting the local market, the farmers, but then also it's going to be a healthier option. Yeah, that sounds like a win-win for
everyone wins. Yeah, it's really cool.
Especially if you're in a food desert, like this place down here in Freeport that I work with, Harvest the Hungry. They basically, you show up, help out a little bit, you go home with some free food. But what they also offer is cooking classes, because everybody shows up and they get lettuce and whatever and all this, and they're like, okay, I can make a salad. What else can I do? They offer like canning classes and cooking classes like a couple times a month, and that's what's really cool. If you can give these people the food that they need, and it also show them like tasty ways to cook it, as well. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's really empowering. Awesome. It's a cool deal.
I love that, man. I love that kind of stuff. Absolutely. Well, we have been on for over an hour now, and I know y'all got things to do. Y'all got like 18 kids between the three of y'all. So oh my goodness. Well, real quick, everybody, let me know where they can find you. Vikram, we'll start with you, dude. And this is our last week we got you. We won't have you for like at least 6 months after this.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully I can get back more. You can find me. I am the Plant Prof all over the place. I don't know, wherever people put videos. I'm getting more into YouTube lately. And I also have a podcast called Planthropology. You can find it also all over the place. And I wrote a book called Plants the Rescue, which you can find anywhere that books live.
Including my office.
Including Destin. Go get your book from Destin's office.
Haven't seen it yet.
Do what?
I said to Destin, add that to my care package if you haven't seen it.
I'll throw it in. Now, so me and Phil have to give you some guff now too, though, because Phil, did you know that Vikram is at almost 500 followers after 1 month on YouTube?
Wow! What do you do?
It's just shorts.
You're a legend, man.
Just
shorts.
Yeah.
No pants.
No pants.
Really gets my goat, Vikram.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All shorts, no pants.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be a great series, actually. If anyone, yeah.
Phil, let everybody know where they can find you, dude. You got any events come up or anything like that?
I don't have a lot of events coming up, but hey, reach out with questions on figs if you're interested in fig trees. I have fig trees for sale on philsfigs.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you have through Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. And I try to put out content weekly on YouTube. So
yeah, go to the comment section on this video afterwards, Phil, because there's a bunch of fig questions from somebody in the chat. So go
word. Yeah,
the same lady who's hard of hearing on YouTube. I can't tell if she's messing with me or not. I don't know if she's messing with me or not, and I can't. Okay, I don't know. Joshua, thank you so much for coming to our chaotic garden party. Let everybody know where they can find you and what you got coming up.
Yeah, definitely. This has been fun. It's always fun geeking out about plants with other people that understand. There's only a few people in my real life that I can talk to like this about plants, and it's always fun when those conversations can happen. Thegardenisgrowing.com will just be like my landing page. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Instagram is my favorite, just because it has, I think, the best community to be able to share, with the stories, and just to have, I respond more to comments and messages on Instagram. But I'm on the other ones as well, and most of it's all the same stuff. So pick whatever one you want if you'd like to follow along. No like events, I don't think, coming up. I don't do much of that currently. I'll be at the Homesteaders of America conference in Virginia in October, but I'm just an attendee for that. I did that for the first time last year and was a lot of fun. So if anybody's going to that, let me know. we'll say hi. But yeah, no, I'd love to come back on another time. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we do this every week, and so we're always looking for more people to bring back on. We do I think we decided we're going to do the mega cast quarterly, where we have like 10 people on for like 2.5 hours, and that one's coming up here in like mid-June, I think. We did it in March, so we're gonna do it like in June or July.
Do I have to wait to get my rating to see if I get into the ranks for that?
You
made it.
You have to fly to North Carolina and arm wrestle Phil. That's all you gotta do.
Can we meet?
It's
in
an
the
easy
middle?
win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You shouldn't have to. From where you could probably get away. We could probably meet over in like Rocky Point or whatever.
Probably meet in West Virginia over there by. Well, no, that's the other way. I don't know where y'all are at. I'm in Texas. Everything's up there.
We border each other.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all so much for coming on. I'm Texas Garden Guy. We do have a couple things coming up, so y'all can come. If y'all are going to be at TNLA in is it September?
I don't know. August.
No, I think it's September.
No, I'm pretty sure it's August.
It's August. Okay.
It's the week before school starts for me, so it's definitely August.
Okay. So we're going to be at TNLA. We're going to be doing a live podcast. Jorge is going to be able to come on.
Ah, cool.
So we're very excited because he'll be there in person, and some other guests as well. But we'll be doing a live podcast from TNLA with Vikram, and then we'll have Figtoberfest, which is October 5th, right, Phil?
October 5th.
Figtoberfest, we're flying Big Daddy Phil down here to Texas. You can find all the links for all this stuff on my Instagram bio. But yeah, tons of stuff coming up. The garden party ain't going nowhere. As terrible as my podcasts are, they are a lot of fun. I appreciate y'all coming on. Thank you so much. And
I look forward to this every week,
dude. Yeah, me too. I know, but some people hate it. It's okay. No, it's all right. Thank y'all so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.